Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It is not Friday, it's Wednesday, December 27th. I'm so used to saying it's Friday and it's time for an interview, but it's not. Today is Wednesday, December 27th. We're almost at the end of the year. And today we're going to be doing a goal setting workshop to set you up for 2024. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a sales coach and trainer. I work with both individuals and organizations internationally to help them achieve measurable and sustainable sales increases. And I founded the Sales Pro Network about 3 years ago to elevate the profession of sales, to give salespeople a place where they can hang out, learn, earn, network with each other, and get great advice and coaching from people like me and tons of my competitors who've been interviewed on this show. We're all happy to help. And today, I'm going to help you by leading you through a goal-setting exercise to help you set up your 2024 for success. I think I've actually figured out how to show you my screen and to see the comments at the same time. So if you have any questions during the broadcast, please do put them in the comments. If you're watching us live, please say hello in the comments. And if you're watching us live on Facebook, but have not connected your account to StreamYard, it's not going to say your name for me. It's just going to say Facebook user. So please do include your name. And if you're watching us on the replay, please put replay in the comments. And with that, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump right into this. Let's see if we got this happening. I think we got it right. Good. So yes, I actually co-authored a book on setting and achieving goals called How to Be Your Own Coach. My co-author and I found there were tons and tons of books written about setting goals, but very few about once you've set them, how do you achieve them or how do you increase the likelihood of achieving your goals? Hello, stopping by to say hi. Hello, Facebook user, whoever you are. Glad that you're here and thanks for saying hi. So with that, let's get right to it. A couple of things before we actually get into the goal setting portion. I want to give you some quick tips on being more effective this year. Jerry Marlowe, happy New Year to you, my friend. The first thing is if you're going to be successful in 2024 in sales, then you're going to need to consistently and effectively prospect, and that means you need to create your plan. Sometime between today and the end of this year, take the time to write out your plan for how you're going to prospect in the coming year. Are you going to be using LinkedIn effectively? Are you going to be on Facebook all the time? Are you going to be cold calling, knocking on doors? What is it that you're going to do that's going to result in a steady stream of qualified prospects for you? Because I don't care how good you are at selling, unless you are seeing enough prospects, you cannot possibly close enough business. Me, with my 48 years of experience and lots of skill, I can't close enough business either unless I'm speaking to enough prospects. So please take the time to write out your plan. Check it during the year, make sure it's working. If not, switch it around and change it. But you need to prospect consistently and effectively. Every day that you do not prospect is a day somewhere down the line where you cannot possibly get paid. There's a direct relationship between prospecting and getting paid, but it's not prospect today and get paid tomorrow. It's prospect today and get paid somewhere way down the line. So every time you stop prospecting for whatever reason, good one, bad one, or in between, somewhere down the line, you're going to have a hard time getting paid. Good morning to Jeff Clare. Jeff says he's setting up his vision traction organizer for 2024. So goal setting is important. Jeff Clare, who was interviewed for this show, I think sometime in the last year, an excellent coach in himself. And he says, by the way, it's Jeff Clare. Very good. Casey Cassidy, excited to learn from this workshop. Me too, Casey. So let's get moving. Next thing is, do you have an ICP? Do you have an ideal client profile? Do you know what your best type of client looks like? If you have not clearly defined your avatar, your ideal client profile, then how are you going to know when they show up? How are you going to know who to prospect to? You can certainly take a shotgun approach, but that's not the wise one. You want to be more like a sharpshooter. You want to be looking for the right people who need and want what you have and who you want to work with. When you're putting together your ICP, your ideal client profile, make sure you include the things that are important to you. Like, I'll give you a quick example. One of the things that's important to me is whoever I'm working with needs to be fun to work with. If you're going to be a pain in my rear end, I'm too old and I'm too cranky and I'm too successful, I don't need your business. I only want to work with people who are fun. I only want to work with people who are willing to pay exactly what I ask for and according to my terms. And I have an entire list of things that make people my ideal client. You need to create one for yourself. And you need to figure out where you're going to find your leads. There are lots and lots of sources and places to find leads, some free and some paid for. Some of you may be familiar with Zoom Info, which pretty much is acknowledged as the best database, the most accurate. It's also a fairly large investment. So usually it's not an individual that gets that, but I've used it at some of my clients. Pretty darn accurate, often gives you things like email addresses and cell phones. Seamless.ai, a little less pricey, but also very good. There's lots and lots of ways, but this needs to be part of your plan too. Not just who are you going to go after and how are you going to go after them, but where are you going to find these people? Where are you going to find their names and addresses and all that kinds of stuff? The next thing you have to do is understand why people buy if you're going to be successful in sales in 2024. And people buy because it makes sense to buy. In fact, we do everything we do because it makes sense to do those things. If you're watching this live, it made sense to you, at least it did 10 minutes ago, to watch this live and be able to set your goals for 2024. May not be making sense now, but it did at that point. I didn't eat breakfast this morning. Why? I had a big dinner. I wasn't hungry this morning. It didn't make sense to eat. We do everything we do because it makes sense to do those things, including buy stuff. So we have to figure out what makes sense to our prospects when we're trying to sell them our services or our products. They're going to buy whatever you have to offer them if it makes sense to do so, and we have to figure out what makes sense. Now, here's the cool thing about that, and this is all from my Selling Skills program. What makes sense to people is whatever they're doing now or whatever they've done in the past regarding what you have to sell them. So if you're selling sales training like I do or sales coaching like I do, I have to find out what makes sense to my prospects about training their salespeople or themselves, or coaching their salespeople, or being coached themselves. Because once you understand what that is, you're then in a position to show them a better way and say, here's what you're doing now, and here's how I can do it better for you or help you do it better. This is, again, from my conversational selling skills program, and I don't want to focus on this very much because I want to get to the goal setting portion, but you also need to understand why people buy from you. And people buy from you because they like you and they trust you. And it's crucial to understand that many things have changed in the almost 50 years that I've been selling, but one thing hasn't, and that's that people, unless they have no other choice, they still do business with people they both like and trust. So it's important we create a relationship with them in the beginning of the sales process and nurture that relationship during the sales process. And of course, people buy value. People buy what's in it for them. People buy the benefit of whatever your product or service does for them. So you need to be able to clearly articulate that. And of course, my number one tip always is never leave a meeting or a phone call without setting up the next meeting or phone call right then and there. That's called the best next action step philosophy. If you just take that one bit of information into 2024, and every time you meet with a prospect, you don't leave without setting up that next meeting, you will shorten your sales cycle, you'll prevent yourself from getting ghosted most of the time, and you will make sure you're working with interested prospects. And you don't have any time in 2024 to waste your time with people who are not interested. So make sure you always set up a best next action step. And finally, stop pitching. I hate that word with a passion. Don't be a con artist salesperson, a smooth talking, quick talking salesperson. There are some simple steps that you can take. A sales process that's easily repeatable, and you don't have to use mine. Mine happens to look like the one you see on your screen right now. You establish and nurture rapport with the people that you meet. You ask lots and lots of questions, and you deal with whatever objections come up out of those. You have to confirm what you heard. You have to give a presentation showing people what you will do for them and how it's going to help them. You negotiate if you need to, and then you close. There's lots of different methodologies that teach different steps in different order, but we all pretty much say the same thing, but you need some type of a formula for taking you from hello to closed. And this is the one I teach. Anyways, oops, you don't need this. This is from another presentation. Look at that. There you go. So here's the copy, the cover of the book I co-authored on setting and achieving goals. It's called How to Be Your Own Coach, 6 Simple Questions for Achieving Your Goals. I wrote it with my dear friend and mentor, Steve Bookbinder. And we wrote this book while he was training to swim the English Channel. And we based our coaching on everything that Steve did to train for swimming the English Channel. So here are some things that you can use. First of all, understand, you were born to be successful. In his book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, he says you pop out of the womb with a success mechanism in your brain. In other words, you are born to be successful, but your brain needs something to focus on. Your success mechanism inside your brain needs something to focus on. And what it needs to focus on is your goal. So it's important if you're going to succeed in 2024 to have a set goal. And we're going to just work on financial. I have a goal setting worksheet. If you email me, and my contact information will be at the end of this, at the end of these slides, email me. I'm happy to send this to you for free. It's got goal setting areas, I think 7 different goal setting areas, including spiritual and relationship. But today, we're just going to focus on the financial goal. So hopefully you have a piece of paper with you and a pen or something to write with. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that your goal is written down and that it's specific. It is not enough to say, I want to be rich. That's like saying, I want to be happy, or I want to be skinny. How skinny is skinny? How happy is happy? How will you define it? So when it comes to setting a financial goal, you need a specific amount, and you want to express it as, I will have earned X amount of dollars by December 31st, 2024. So if you are following along live, please take a moment and write down your number. Nobody can see it. You don't have to share it with me. If you'd like to put it in the comments so that we can all support you in it, feel free, but you don't have to. This is your personal number. I will have earned X amount of dollars by December 31st, 2024. So you're giving yourself a full year to earn whatever that is. And remember, it has to be expressed as I will have earned. Not I hope to, not I wish for, not I'm dreaming about. None of those things matter. When I do one-on-one or group coaching, I don't care what your dreams are. I don't care what your hopes are. I don't care what your wishes are. As a human being, I care about all that stuff. But the only thing I care about as a coach is, what are you committed to? So your statement should be, I will earn, or I will have earned X amount of dollars by December 31st, 2024. Okay, hopefully you've done that. The next thing to write down is, why is this goal important to me and my family, to me and my wife or husband, my kids, my extended family? There's a reason that you are committed to this goal. And I don't know what it is, but hopefully you do. It's not about earning more green pieces of paper. So I'm just going to make up a number for all of you sitting out there. I'm going to say you're all committed to earning $250,000 in 2024 by December 31st. Now, if that's too low for you, I don't mean to insult you. If it's too high for you, I don't mean to put the pressure on you. Your number has to be right for you. But let's say your goal is to earn $250,000 in 2024. Well, here's the thing. You don't need 250,000 more pieces of green paper with pictures of dead presidents on them. What you need is what that money will do for you. So that's what you write down in this box. This is actually, these boxes are taken from the goal setting worksheet, but you can put this on any piece of paper. Why is the goal important to you? So I'm going to shut up for about 35 seconds here, and I'm going to let you take a moment to write down why this goal is important to you. And of course, you have plenty of time to flesh this out later on. I'm going to take it through you very briefly. So there's 30 seconds of dead silence for your listening pleasure. How will this affect your life? How will this affect the people who you love? The more important you make it for yourself, so much for the dead silence, by the way, the more important you make this for yourself, the greater the likelihood that you'll stick with it when the going gets tough. All right, if you're still writing, feel free to continue writing. And of course, this will be available on the replay afterwards, but I want to make sure we cover everything. And I also want to get you out on time because I respect everybody's time. The next thing, how will it feel when I achieve this goal? How will my life be different? But most importantly, how will it physically feel, mentally feel? So if you believe in something called the law of attraction, which I do, the law of attraction was very popular about, I think it was about 15 years ago, something like that, when a book and a movie came out called The Secret. There's another great movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? Oprah was all over this. Larry King was all over this. The law of attraction says that what you focus on consistently and intently tends to be attracted into your life if you feel the right feelings and think the right thoughts. Now, here's the thing about the law of attraction. They left something out. You have to feel the right feelings and think the right thoughts and take massive action, but the thoughts and the feelings are important too. So what will it actually feel like? Let's say you're committed to earning $250,000. What's it going to feel like when you hit that $250,000? Are you going to be experiencing joy, ecstasy, elation? What will you really feel like? Take a moment and write that down. So you have to think the right thoughts. You have to think positive. You have to see yourself as having already achieved the goal. You have to feel what it will feel like, and you have to take massive action. I could step outside right now onto my deck, look up at the sky and say, $1 million is going to fall from the sky, except it's unlikely that that's really going to happen unless I take some massive action to earn that $1 million. But what would it feel like? What will it feel like when you earn whatever you're committed to? That needs to be clearly defined on your goal worksheet. Step number 4, what am I willing to do to achieve this goal? So this is one of the many things I've taught my children over and over and over as they were growing up. There's a price to pay for everything. And if you'd like to achieve, if you're committed to achieving massive success financially, what are you willing to do? Are you willing to sit on your couch and eat spaghetti and drink tequila and watch TV? I'd love to get paid for that, except I don't. So I have to take some things. I have to actually do some prospecting. I have to meet with people. So what are you willing to do? What's the price you're willing to pay? Maybe you love prospecting. I love talking about prospecting because it's one of my favorite things to teach salespeople. My least favorite thing to do, but it's one of my favorite things to teach. And it's a price that I have to pay in order for me, excuse me, to support my family in the manner in which I choose to support them in. I have to work. I have to do prospecting, and I have to meet with prospects and clients, and I have to deliver. So write down, what are you willing to do? What is the price you're willing to pay to achieve this goal? And I always suggest with any of my private coaching clients, I have them write out a business plan. Now, when I say business plan, I'm not talking about a plan that you would take to a bank to get a bank loan. I'm talking about what are all the steps that you're going to take to go from January 2nd, I'm assuming you're taking the first off, January 2nd, 2024 to December 31st, 2024. Write those all down. By the way, I happen to like these in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet. You put each thing in, and that way you've got it. I like color coding things. I like to make it look pretty. And once you've done that, you want to break each of those things down into their smallest component parts. So let's say one of the things that you said you were willing to do to pay the price is you're willing to prospect, like me. You've got to prospect. Well, there's a lot of things under prospecting. Maybe you're going to be cold calling, or maybe you're going to be sending emails, or maybe you're going to be doing networking, whatever it is. Break each activity down, each thing that you have to do into its smallest component parts, which I call baby steps. And why do we do that? Well, very simple. It's easy to do small things, but it's hard to do big things. It's hard to lose 100 pounds, but today's Wednesday, right? Today's Wednesday. I can lose 3 pounds by Friday. It's easier to do small things. What you want to do is set yourself up for success. And the reason that that's important is because we are hoping that our goal journey looks like this, that we go straight up, well, not, up on an angle, but it's a straight line, but that's just not how it works most of the time. Obstacles come up. Boulders come up in your path, and you've either got to go through them, around them, over them, under them, or destroy them. And when the going gets tough, it's easier to do littler things than it is to do big things. And the other thing is we want to put them into chronological order. So you put down each thing, you break them into baby steps, and then you put them into chronological order with dates for when you will do it by. Always, every goal, every activity has to have a by when. It's got to be specific. It's not, I'm gonna prospect during the summer. Great. When are you going to start? What type are you going to do? When are you going to finish? Everything needs to be very, very clear. Otherwise, it's going to give you ways to kind of weasel out. You don't want to give yourself any excuses. Are there times when it is appropriate to change a goal because you've overextended, or for whatever reason you just couldn't make it? Absolutely. But you don't want to give yourself an easy out, because I can almost guarantee you that at some point during the year, if your goal is aggressive enough, it is going to become difficult, and you don't want to give yourself an out. So break them down into baby steps, put them into chronological order. And this is one of my favorite pieces of goal setting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins. I consider him the greatest motivational speaker that ever walked the face of the planet. I'm not a huge fan of his sales training, not just because I sell sales training, but because I've attended his sales training and it wasn't that great. But he's incredibly brilliant, and his motivational stuff is great. And this is taken directly from Tony. If you are going to achieve any goal, in order to increase your chances of success, you want to attach enough pleasure to the achievement of the goal and enough pain to the lack of achievement of the goal, so that when the going does get tough, you remember that pain and or that pleasure. So write down, if I do not achieve my goal, what pain will I experience? And if I achieve the goal, how am I going to reward myself? What pleasure am I going to get? In terms of that, I want to give you an example, because years ago, for those of you who are watching this live, you can see there's a picture of a rather portly gentleman on the screen. And we're going to call this guy Steve, because Steve was an actual client of mine. I got a call from him. Let's see, it's almost 2024. This is about 10 or 12 years ago. And Steve explained to me that he got my name. He was referred to me very highly by somebody. And he explained, I'm an insurance broker, Jeff. I've been very successful, earning about $300,000 a year for many years. But the last 2 years, my sales have taken a plummet. This year, I barely broke 100,000, and I need help. Can you get me back up to that $300,000? And I asked him the question I ask everybody, which is, do you have money? If so, yes, I can help. And of course, I'm just kind of teasing with that. But yes, Steve became my client. Now, the reason I have a picture on the screen for those of you who are watching this live of a big, heavy gentleman is because Steve was a college athlete. He was a college football player who is now in his late 50s. And he was 6'4", but he weighed almost 400 pounds. He weighed 375 when I met him. Like many college athletes, once they stop working out all the time, they keep eating, and he had ballooned up. So Steve was this big, heavy guy. Another thing that you need to know about Steve, and by the way, this is important to make this point, is for those of you who are watching live, you see a picture of a really nice home. Steve lived in Greenwich, Connecticut. I live on Long Island. I'm very familiar with Greenwich, Connecticut. For those of you who are not familiar, it's a rather, how do we describe it? A hoity-toity neighborhood. It's rather affluent. The home you see here would be a pretty moderate house in Greenwich. There are mansions in Greenwich. My ex-wife's best friend lived in Greenwich, Connecticut. And when we used to go up there, they had lots and lots of property. There was a river running through the property. And my ex-wife's friend, who I adored, used to say, yeah, we live in Greenwich, Connecticut, but we live in the worst house in Greenwich, Connecticut. Well, the worst house in Greenwich, Connecticut had an indoor swimming pool. So I think you get my drift. So Steve, this big fat guy, insurance broker, lived in a very nice area, Greenwich, Connecticut. One of the things that you would know about Greenwich, Connecticut, if you know it, is the blocks can be very long there. Unlike a block in New York City where you can walk around it in about 4 or 5 minutes because they're all about the same size. In Greenwich, it could be a mile or more just to walk around the block because a lot of it's pretty rural. So Steve, a guy who did not like exercising, when it came time for us, he set his goal for $300,000 in the coming year. And we were talking about how much pain or pleasure can he attach to the achievement or lack of achievement of the goal. And when we talked about pleasure, Steve came up with it immediately. He said, Jeff, when I hit that $300,000, I'm going to take my family on the nicest vacation they've ever been on in our entire lives, because the last couple of years, we haven't really been able to go away because my income had dropped and I didn't have the money. So I'm going to take my family on a really, really nice vacation. And he actually described very clearly where they were going to go and how long they were going to be there and all that good stuff. And then I asked Steve, how about pain? If by some strange chance you and I can't get you to your goal of $300,000, what pain are you going to experience? And Steve thought about it for a while, and he said, well, Jeff, I'm kind of overweight and I don't like exercising. So if by some chance I do not hit my goal, here's what I'll do. I will walk around my block in January. Now remember, this is a big, heavy set guy, way out of shape, doesn't like exercising anymore. So he offered to walk around his block, which could easily be a mile or more, in January. And I suggested that we make it even more painful. And Steve said, how about if I walk around the block 2 times? And I said, I think we can do a little bit better. I'm going to shortcut the story for you guys. Steve ended up committing, ended up committing to walking around his block 3 times in January. But here's the good part. He would be wearing nothing but high heels and a bikini while I followed him with a video camera, videotaping this 375-pound, 6'4" guy walking around his block in January in a bikini and high heels. I figured either way, I'm going to be a winner. Either Steve is going to hit his goal, and I'm the greatest coach in the world, or I'm going to have a video of this big fat guy walking around his block in high heels and a bikini in January. Well, the end of the story, my friends, is Steve did not have to walk around the block 3 times looking like Borat. For those of you who see this, there's a picture of Borat in his little bikini. Steve actually did hit his goal and took his family on a great vacation to St. Martin, and he lived happily ever after. At least I hope he did. I'm not in touch with him anymore. So you want to make sure that for yourself, when the going gets tough, you want to be able to remember, if I don't hit this goal, I'm going to experience severe pain. And when I do, I'm going to have this great pleasure. You can either attach pain or pleasure to the achievement or lack of achievement of your goal. I suggest both. The more pleasure you promise yourself and the more pain you promise yourself, the greater the likelihood that when things do get tough, you stick with it. All right, let's move on. Next, if you've ever attended a goal setting seminar, if you've ever read a book on goal setting, if you've ever spoken to a goal setting expert, they almost all say the exact same thing. Once you set a goal, if you do not take action towards achieving your goal within 72 hours, you probably never will. Well, my co-author and I think 72 hours is too long. You need to get started within 24 hours. In fact, my preference is once you set a goal, do something immediately. And I don't care how small it is, just do something immediately to get started, because it's typically harder to get going than it is to keep going. It's harder to get going than to keep going. And the perfect example is this time of year. Right now, lots and lots of people are signing up for gym memberships, because this is the year I'm going to do it. 2024, I'm going to get in shape. So lots and lots of people sign up to go to gyms starting in January. By the way, the people who own gyms know that 2/3 of the people who sign up at the end of December and early January will not be there by the end of January. So they often completely oversell the gym. That's why if you go to the gym in January in the beginning, it's often way more crowded than usual. But they know by about week 3, people will drop off, because here's what happens initially. You wake up, let's say January 2nd, you're going to go to the gym for the first time. You wake up, you don't even want to open your eyes. Your eyes are glued shut, because you know if you open them, you got to get out of bed and go to the gym. But somehow you manage to pry your eyes open, and then you can't find your sneakers. Maybe you need to go buy a new pair for the gym anyways, but you force yourself to find your sneakers. You slip them on your feet, or you stick them in a gym bag. But then you start thinking there's probably going to be a lot of traffic and it's going to be very busy there. Maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe I should just go to the diner and have some food. But you force yourself to you drive in your car and you drive towards the gym. Maybe you stop at Starbucks or someplace like that for a coffee or Dunkin' Donuts, and you finally get to the gym and you work out that first day. And guess what? It's hard. It's hard that first day. And guess what happens the second day? It's even harder to get up, because now your muscles ache from the first day. And now when you get to the gym, it actually hurts to work out. And the third day is hard and the 5th day is hard. But by about the end of the second week or the third week, it starts getting easier, even though so many people drop out at that point. If you're going to stick with it, this is where it starts to become easier. So this is why I suggest, once you set a goal, do something, even the littlest thing, to take one step towards it, and then take as many of you steps as you possibly can, so that you build that momentum and you develop the habit of working actively towards your goal. Then, accountability. So the book that I co-authored is called How to Be Your Own Coach. In other words, how do you coach yourself to success without needing a coach? Except here's the thing. You probably need a coach anyways. But even if you don't need a coach, you need an accountability partner. One of the things I find quite interesting is when I do private coaching, one-on-one coaching. In fact, in almost all the things I do, I'm often surprised by the things that my clients tell me that they enjoy about working with me. You know, we all think that we know why our clients want to work with us. I would urge each of you in sales, speak to your clients. Ask them why they enjoy working with you, because they're the best source of intelligence for you. They can tell you why they really worked with you, instead of you thinking, here's why they work with me. And I was stunned the first time somebody said to me, well, Jeff, what I really like about your coaching is that you hold me accountable. Because in my coaching practice, almost every call ends with my client making a promise to me for how much prospecting they're going to do between now and the next call, which is typically 2 weeks later. And by the way, it's not me telling them how much prospecting to do, unless they come up with some ridiculous number. Like if my friend Jeff Clare was my client and he said, Jeff, between now and the next call, 2 weeks from now, I'll make 2 cold calls. Well, in that case, I'd probably go, hey, Mr. Clare, I think you can do a little bit better than that. But as long as he comes up with something reasonable, like he says, I'll make 5 cold calls a day and I'll send out 20 emails, and whatever it is, all I'm there is to support him and to make sure he's committed to it. Not that he hopes to get it done, not that he wishes he could get it done, but that he's committed. And then on that next call, it starts out with, hey, Jeff, last time we spoke, you told me you were going to make 5 cold calls a day and send 20 emails a day. Did you do it? Well, if he does, I'm going to high five him. And if he doesn't, I'm going to, pardon my French, I'm going to kick his ass, because we all need somebody that will give us the tough talk when we need it. First thing about accountability partners, I would not suggest that you use a family member. They love you too much. They want you to succeed, but they like you and love you too much to be hard on you when you need to. Like if I told my mom, I'm going to make 25 cold calls a day between now and the next time we speak 2 weeks from now. Well, the first thing she would say is, honey, why is it going to take so long for you to speak to me again? Because obviously mommy doesn't want to wait 2 weeks to hear from me, because I'm just a lovely son and she likes to hear from me. Actually, she just likes to hear about her grandchildren. But if if she did, excuse me, if I did make that promise to her and I called her in 2 weeks and said, hey, mommy, I tried hard, but I got busy and I couldn't make all those calls and I couldn't send all those emails, my mom would simply say, that's okay, dear. I'm sure you tried your best. And if you knew my mom, that sounds just like her. And that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who will actually hold you accountable to doing what you say you're going to do. My experience is most people will work very, very hard to keep their promises to somebody else, but they're willing to break their promises to themselves. And I'm no exception. Look, I'm a pretty disciplined guy, and I would rather break my arm than break my word to you. But I will break my word to myself if I need to. And by the way, I keep my word to myself most of the time, but I'd be lying if I said I never break my word to myself. So you want to have somebody else in your life. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's your manager, maybe you hire a coach, but somebody who you will make promises to and who will hold you accountable. Here's an example. For those of you who are watching live, you see this picture of the Fatboy Fit Club, which is a Facebook group, free Facebook group that I discovered about either 3 or 4 years ago when I was on one of my losing weight journeys. My weight tends to roller coaster up and down, not a good thing. And right now I'm kind of at my heaviest again, so it's time to lose again. But about 3 years ago, I decided to lose weight, and I certainly made a commitment to how much I was going to weigh by a certain date. And I just happened to be breezing through Facebook one day, and I came across this group called the Fatboy Fit Club. And it's just a bunch of overweight, middle-aged or early senior citizen guys who were supporting each other in being fit. So I joined the group, and the way I used it was I made a declaration to, at the time, all 200 members saying, I will weigh 175 pounds by, I don't remember what the date was. I think it was March 1st, a couple of years ago. And even better, every Friday I said I would post my weight. I will post my weight in the group every Friday, and I did every single week. And here's what I found. Every time I was thinking of eating the wrong thing, or maybe not exercising, or not drinking enough water, I remembered, damn it, on Friday, I've got to post my weight for all these people. And they were watching. When I posted my weight, if I had lost as little as 1/10 of a pound, people were like, yeah, Jeff, you got this. Awesome. Good job. And if I had gained a little weight, come on, Jeff, you can do it. You said you would do it. Keep going. Making your goal as public as you possibly can and having somebody who's going to hold you accountable will be a huge help when the going does get tough. And I guarantee you at some point it will. All right, that's actually it for the goal setting. I don't see any questions in the comments. If you have any questions right now, now would be the time, because we're going to end this pretty soon. I realize we did not take till we've got about 10 minutes left. I'm not going to take up your whole 10 minutes, but if anybody has any questions, please do put them in the comments while we're still on. And I've got a couple of things to share with you that some of you might be interested in. I just came out with a new option, which is called the Sales Pro Insider Network. So this group that we're in right now is the Sales Pro Network. The Sales Pro Insider Network is going to be group coaching. I find that I speak to a lot of people who would like to use me as their coach, but they can't afford the investment for private coaching. So I'm now offering group coaching. We will do this on Tuesday nights, twice a month. The first one is on January 9th. And each session will be 1 to 2 hours with a group of other people. And one session, the one on January 9th, will just be you and me doing coaching. So you come in, tell me what your issues are, tell me what's preventing you from earning more money in sales, and I will help solve your problems. And then the second one in the month will be me and a guest coach giving you that coaching. All the sessions will be recorded. You will not receive them automatically, but you can always say, hey, Jeff, I missed the group coaching session. Please send me the recording. And it's just $1 to join for the first month. It's $297 a month after that, but there's no contract you're signing, so you can stop at any time. So if you're interested in that, Let's see if I can manage this technologically. I'm going to put the, here we go. Look at that. Life's good. I'm putting the link for that one in the comments right now. So that's to get more information or to register. Again, that's $1 for the first month. And then after that, you can stop at any time. And I also have a couple of other things that you might be interested in if you need some help with selling. I've taken the sales training program I do for corporations that take a full day. I've broken it into video modules called the Conversational Selling Skills course. Each module is about 5 to 20 minutes each. It's a video recording with my PowerPoint and me talking to you like I am right now. You have lifetime access to it, so you can watch them over and over and over. There's also a boot camp available as an add-on if you want to go through the course and do 6 weeks of small group coaching with people who are also going through the course. There's that option. This comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And now I will put the links for those two, again, to get more information or to register. I'm putting those in the chat right now. Wow, look at me being all technological. This is awesome. Okay, and here's one more for you. If prospecting is what you need help with, if you say, hey, Jeff, I'm great at selling, but I don't have enough leads. Well, my professional prospecting course is the one that would be right for you. This one has 11 video modules. Again, this is the same program I take into corporations, teaching people how to use LinkedIn, how to cold call. I'll actually take you through how to develop a script, how to deal with objections and rebuttals, how to leave a voicemail, how to get past gatekeepers, all that stuff, how to network effectively, and much, much more. Again, you have lifetime access. Again, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not pleased with the program. And I will put that link finally in the chat, and then we're going to close this thing down. If anybody is interested in these but doesn't act quickly enough in the chat or needs some more information, you can always reach me at, let's see, I think I've got a slide here with that. There we go. Jeff@jgsalespro.com is my direct email. My phone number, I'll give you my cell, is 516-314-9037. And with that, let's see, Michael North says, great topic and presentation. Jeff, thank you for doing this. Always love your clarity and direction. Michael North, I love you too, brother, man. Absolutely, positively. And before we go, let's just let the beach bug, there's Duke, my pug, wishing you a happy new year. I'm happy to help anybody, guys. If you have questions, if there's something I can help you with, I'm not talking about you necessarily using me as your coach or buying my programs. You can always reach out to me. I always have my big boy pants on if you're taking advantage of me. And if you're calling me every day or emailing me every day for advice, at some point, I guarantee you, we're going to have a conversation about, hey, I think Coach Jeff needs to get paid for this. But Duke, my pug, and I both wish everybody an incredibly happy new year. Happy, healthy, and prosperous for all. And with that, I will leave you as I always do. Please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. So get out there and make sales happen. If you have not yet set your goals for the year, this was the workshop to do it in. Make sure you take some time between now and the end of the year to write them down clearly, flesh those out. If you'd like to send them to me so I can help keep you accountable, please feel free to email them at jeff@jgsalespro.com. And with that, I'll wish everybody a very happy new year. Thanks, everyone. Have a great one. I'll see you next year. There will be no live this Friday, no live interview this Friday. I'm actually taking it off. And then Sunday night, I have a comedy gig. Enjoy, my friends. Be safe. See you in 2024.